Hello. So, for those of you who have been following with me, have a little bit of an update on the city. After last night's city council meeting, there's a couple of things that I believe are important for you to know. One, the June property tax revenue came in from the state, so there's two tax draws per year. One of them comes in June, and I believe the other one's December, and then that helps fill up the bank accounts after all the spending over the first 6 months or so of governmental activity. So that money did come in. According to the mayor, he stated this: one, it was a good year, he said, as far as the tax revenue that came in. He said, we feel good about where our budget's at right now. We've paid insurance down some. We've not had to borrow any money from any department. So there was no numbers released at the meeting, but I do plan on having the mid-year fund balances in the July newsletter, so you can subscribe to that for free. Just send you a simple email, and I will also be posting that newsletter on Facebook, so you can actually see where the numbers are actually at. Sometimes I have found that when I actually receive the numbers in print, they don't necessarily match what we've been told, but we shall see if things are changing. Then earlier in the year, the mayor stated that the city planned to apply for the second round of Community Crossings Grant, which Community Crossings Grant is where the state sends us back our own tax money to cover road maintenance, to pave some roads and stuff. City of Newcastle chose not to apply last year. They chose not to apply the first round this year. But again, the mayor stated they would apply the second round, and according to what he said, he understood that second round to be in the fall. However, that is not in the fall. It was actually in July, or is in July. And so the information I found out, it wasn't talked about at the meeting. Actually, you rarely hear community crossings brought up at meetings, but I have been told we will not be applying for the Community Crossings Grant again for a second consecutive year in a row, which 2 years combined, we've missed out on up to $2.5 million for our road infrastructure. And some people have been asking me, why aren't we applying for this? Is there some kind of stipulation? There's got to be a legitimate reason. There is a so-called legitimate reason. The reason is you have to have matching money, and because we don't have the money to match, we can't apply for the grant, because we're still recovering from a very bad 2023 where we overspent revenue, grand total revenue, by roughly $8.8 million that year. One of the worst years on records over the past, you'd have to go back quite a ways. I can at least go back to 2012, 2011. It's definitely been the worst since then. But anyways, we know where we're at. It's not about that. It's about where we're headed. How do we it doesn't do any good to rehash where we've been unless we're using that for information to help us make decisions for our future. But we also still have a very large health insurance deficit, and the EMS deficit is also hurting us. So it enables us, or prohibits us from being able to apply from these grants. Another piece of information that you will want to know is that it was proposed and passed on the first reading that your monthly trash fee for the people who live in the city limits, your monthly trash fee will be increased. As of right now, the proposed amount is $4.55 a month. It passed first reading. It has to go through, typically goes through 3 readings, and that means the end of July. It will either fail or pass, or they'll adjust the rate. And then the other thing that you should be prepared for in the next couple years is an income tax increase. That is more than likely going to happen. It was brought up in the meeting for the first time that I am aware of.